Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
I'm not happy. I'm not happy at all. I know woohoo, Alec Bohm, walk off, real fun. You can't be splitting with the Boston Red Sox. This team sucks. The team is literally garbage, and you can't find a way to sweep them. You gotta put together wins. I don't think I'm overreacting. I think it's fair to be furious because this team should have taken care of business. At what point are they going to take care of business? And then a huge issue comes from these two games. The bullpen seems to be back. And when I say back, I mean the bad bullpen. What a joke. What a sick joke. You want some stats? I'll give you some stats. And oh, by the way, they're piss poor stats that you probably don't want to hear. So let's talk about how the Phillies haven't swept a doubleheader since 2012. Get your head out of your ass and put together a good performance in the same day, huh? It can't be that difficult because I'm sure that there's plenty of times where these doubleheaders since 2012 came against a team that you should be able to destroy. And it's not like those 2012 to 2015 teams were good, okay? I get it. But last season, this season, you should be able to beat up on some of these teams. You should be able to. It's pretty damn simple. Compete harder. Play harder. Execute better. The Boston Red Sox are trash. They have nobody who can throw the baseball. But apparently, the same goes for the Philadelphia Phillies. Since Phelps, Workman, Hembree, and Hale joined the Phillies, you ready for these numbers? Oh, they'll jump out at you. They will jump the hell out at you. 21 and one-third innings, 18 earned runs, 10 home runs, 46 base runners, a whopping 2.16 whip, and a 7.59 ERA. How do you win with that? It seems to not be working right now. And it's funny, while they were putting wins together, I kept mentioning, look, their offense is doing well. Their offense is winning them games. These bullpen players are still allowing home runs. They're still getting crushed. They're still getting rocked. But the offense is stepping up and scoring more runs. I don't know if that's a recipe for success long term. Well, apparently it's not, actually. It's not, I don't know. It's not. We're witnessing it right now. It's not. And on top of that, Bryce, wake up. You're in the middle of a baseball season. The season's actually coming down to the home stretch. You have a huge run upcoming. You got to play the Miami Marlins after your off day. And if you haven't seen it, Sixto Sanchez does it again. This kid is incredible. He's a stud, and he's going to haunt this Philadelphia Phillies franchise forever. Even when his career is over, he will still haunt this organization because he's that lethal. He's that special. How do you watch this kid and not want to faint? I'm at the point now where, you know what? Look, if they sign JT, which I hope they do at this point, I still think, from what I've seen out of what Sixto Sanchez can do, I'd take Sixto any day of the week over JT Realmuto. Now, with the hands we are dealt at this point, if they sign him, I can get behind it because you still get an unbelievable player. And I kept hearing those comps when it comes to who's he going to play like. We kept hearing those comps, and it was Pedro Martinez. And I would laugh a bit, like, okay, I'm sure. During the draft, all these players are comped to somebody unrealistic, and in reality, they're just good players that are getting overhyped during their draft. So when I keep hearing Pedro Martinez, yeah, okay. And then you see it. And then you see the side-by-side videos of their leg kicks and how they finish off their pitches. Uh-oh. Yeah, not good. He looks elite. He looks so fantastic. I cry myself to sleep thinking about Sixto Sanchez, and I wish I was making that up, but I'm really not. It's the truth. I can't stop watching his games. I can't stop watching his tape. I can't believe the Phillies actually had someone that sick in their organization, and then, of course, he's the one that gets moved. Oh! Bros, focus. Focus. We're here to talk about the abysmal performance by the bullpen and by the offense in that second game. The offense was bad in the second game, and the bullpen was bad in both games. But before we dive deeper into this episode of Sports Talk with Broads is sponsored by Orbit Energy and Power, and with over 20 years of experience in the solar industry, they are home to your solar experts in both residential and commercial projects. They offer flexible financing solutions such as $0 down. In addition, they will make sure that you receive all the state and federal incentives available for switching to solar. There is no risk and no need for investment. With the solar energy system, you can even increase the value of your home by an average of 4.1%. Make sure you check out their information and their phone number in the description. So yes, it is not okay with me what happened. In game one, the Phillies had the lead. Didi Gregorius hits a homer. Well, then Devers hits a homer of his own to tie it up. Well, then they take the lead because Bryce Harper, he's on third base. The only time he was on base. And out of nowhere, he gets picked off, or at least attempted to get picked off. Bang, he shoots home because of a poor throw. It's a 2-1 Phillies lead. The Phillies were up 4-1. Zach Eflin, he gets rocked by lefties. Absolutely fried by lefties. Lefties before the game. This was entering the game. Lefties were hitting .339 against Eflin compared to righties who were hitting under 200, 191. But come on, dude. You got to figure it out. Devers, Verdugo. He allowed 3 solo shots throughout his 5 innings of work. He needs to be better. He needs to be more consistent. There's no denying that the top of his game is something that can work in this league. When Zach Eflin performs to the best of his ability, it's a factor in games. I mean, he could be a difference maker on the bump. But when he's so inconsistent, that's the issues. We need to see it more. And that separates who actually works in this league and who doesn't work in this league. And you need better out of Zach Eflin. And then it doesn't help that here comes Tommy Hunter, and someone, it's not a good day for me, someone who's been praising the Tommy Michael Jordan Hunter name. I guess he's more like a Pippen. He's more of a Pippen because he went out there and he got shelled, gave up the lead. Ridiculous. Now, Tommy Hunter has put together a ton of great outings to this point, so I guess you're due. At some point, you're due. Tommy Hunter wasn't going to be a shutdown threat who became elite just because he had one hell of a post-game comment. But that's not the time, dude. You got to be able to be better. Luckily, the kid, the rookie, Alec Bohm, is special. Bottom 7, 2 outs in a 2-2 count. What he does with 2 strikes is magnificent. And how could I forget that he also had a 2 RBI single earlier in the game to even put the Phillies up. So when the Phillies were up, it was all because of Alec Bohm. And of course, Didi Gregorius, but all because of Alec Bohm. And he comes up huge, smacking one into left field. 2 runs come in and score, and the Phillies win in exciting fashion. And it's a shame that it didn't carry over into game 2. It's almost like that exciting feeling watching Alec Bohm step up, watching him have unbelievable RBIs left and right. Who cares? Who cares? Because you laid a fat egg in that second game. It's unfortunate. But there was a moment in that game that I thought it should have been done earlier. And no, I'm not talking about when there was bases loaded for Rhys Hoskins, although the Phillies should have been able to knock in more runs then. But Adam Hazley, right before Alec Bohm was up to bat, he had a 3-0 count. So he was up 3-0. And somehow, some way, he ends up striking out looking. Come on, Adam. That's the time for you to step up. That's the time for you to prove that you deserve to be in that lineup. All those times I yell, hey, why don't we give Adam Hazley a shot? There's so many injuries going on in left field. I'm sorry, not left field. Center field right now. Well, left field too, technically, with Jay Bruce, who does spend time out in left field. But Scott Kingery, these players, Roman Quinn, Scott Kingery, Jay Bruce, they're not available. Prove that they can't take you out of the lineup. That's a big spot. You're up 3-0 in the count. And somehow you strike out looking on an off-speed pitch. You got to be better there. And luckily, Alec Bohm just continues to do what he does. But for as many great plays as he brings to the table offensively when he walks up to the dish, he sucks defensively. It's just that simple. He is disgraceful and awful playing third base. And I don't know what they're going to do about it because there's plenty of times where it hurts the baseball team. Now, if you're hitting this well, you don't take him out of the lineup, of course, but they do need to figure out long-term how to fix this because this is not a spot where he can play. And I know that he makes some decent plays once in a while. He makes too many abysmal plays defensively. And he got lucky because there was a problem out at third base and it allowed an inning to go on and the bases were loaded for them. You can't keep doing that. Luckily, the Phillies got out of that jam. But I can count maybe 3 or 4 times in these 2 games where I'm thinking, yo, Alec Bohm, figure it out. But he's not the person to really freak out on. I just need to bring it up because, seriously, it is an issue when it comes to this baseball team. They are whacked when it comes to some of their defensive efforts. It's mind-blowing how you can play Major League Baseball and be this poor as a team. But the Phillies found a way, even though it wasn't ugly. They had a lead, and then their bullpen lost the lead. Their offense stepped up, and that was without Bryce Harper and JT Realmuto stepping up. Once again, those two were piss poor, and they need to come together and be better. They need to be better. And hopefully, this off day tomorrow before going into a Miami Marlins series, which is huge, they can regroup, refresh. But I already thought that was going to happen when Bryce had that rest day that Joe Girardi gave him a couple days ago. And clearly that was not effective. Let's go to game 2. There was a small sense of hope that Bryce Harper hit a bomb early in this game. It went to the fence, but it did not go over. A nice play, a nice catch, held Bryce Harper off that home run, and he needs it. This is one of the coldest streaks of his entire career when it comes to how poorly it is to the plate and when it comes to actually getting the ball over the fence. He was super close. If you want to grab onto some optimism, if you want to think, hold on, bros, there's something there, just like you got sucked down Rhys Hoskins and his exit velocity during his poor performance early on, maybe you can grab onto the fact that Bryce Harper was a centimeter away from going yard to center field in this one. And okay, I guess I can buy your logic, but I'm still not thrilled with Bryce Harper whatsoever. He has to be a difference maker. He has to wake up. Cooling off from what he was, inevitable. It's inevitable that was going to happen. But this is absolutely not. This is, you need to get hotter than what you're giving us right now, or this team doesn't stand a damn chance. So how about this? Game 2. Phillies are up early. There's a misplay, a pass ball. Rhys Hoskins comes in to score. The Phillies are up 2-0 early in this game. Isn't it crazy? It's like they get on the board early, yet it doesn't mean anything. When teams that know what they're doing, they put teams away. They put their opponent away when they get up like this. Vinny V on the bump. Now, you know what? In a 7-inning game, when Vinny V gives you 5 and strikes out around 9 and only allows 2 earned runs, yeah, I'll take that. I don't think Vinny V was the problem whatsoever, and I thought, last night at least, it looked like it was going to be Vinny V versus Nick Pivetta. Could you imagine that? That would have been phenomenal. I was actually intrigued all day long, and I didn't realize that it wasn't the case until about 15 minutes before game time. I was checking out all the apps, had Pivetta, had Vince Velasquez. I'm thinking, yeah, here we go. I'm almost intrigued by the dumpster fire Philadelphia Phillies starting pitching battle that we were going to see, but that ended up not being the case. But when I look at Vinny V, I didn't think he was a real problem. Okay, he allowed 2 runs in 5 innings. He struck out 9 or so, and he was fantastic in terms of what you needed out of Vinny V. You had to go to your bullpen for 2 guys, 2 players. So when the score's 2-2, you think, all right, your bullpen should be able to hold it down. David Phelps, ripped, just absolutely ripped, smoked, annihilated. And there it goes. Boom, just like that. It's terrible. I thought David Phelps would have been the best acquisition they got. Does he know what he's doing? Does he know that he's on the mound and the objective is to actually get the opponent out? Because every single time he seems to get on the mound, damage is done. Oh, Hembry, thanks for coming out. Did you know that you're supposed to try and get the other player who's swinging that wooden baseball bat out? You're not supposed to allow him to actually hit the baseball that's being thrown towards the catcher and it's not supposed to leave? You too. I mean, come on. Just like that, there's the game. Although in the 6th inning, Bohm stepped up to the plate with a couple guys on, I thought, no way. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if he did it again? That would have been epic. And then in the 7th inning, Gene Segura with a couple men on actually put together a really nice swing, but it was hit perfectly to where the Boston Red Sox were out in center field-ish. And then Rhys Hoskins, he crushed one, too, that I thought was actually going to go over, and I was ready to jump up and down. It was one of those, when I saw it leave the bat, I actually got up off the couch, hands were on the knees, thinking, go, 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 go. Oh, man, to the warning track. Oh, it was so close. That would have been insane if Rhys Hoskins was able to deliver in a moment like that. But all game long in that second game, where's the offense? Oh, Bryce. Where are you, dude? It's starting to really piss me off, really. And, of course, I love Bryce Harper, all right? But I'm going to be super hard on him because I expect more. And I know he expects more out of himself as well. Everyone in baseball expects more out of Bryce Harper. When your heart and soul, which is him, by the way, with the effort he gives all the time, when he's this down, you have that vibe. And this team at one point really stepped up and provided more than what they realistically probably should have, and they had his back. But that fuse, it runs out eventually. When Bryce is cold for so long, at some point, the rest of the team can't carry him. They're not going to be able to be that effective that long. You think, okay, we can get by for a bit while Bryce figures it out and cools off. But now it's freezing cold. It's disgusting. It's, dude, get your head out of your ass. You're paid the big bucks to be the big-time player. And I need you to do that. And it's all out of love. It's all out of love because I know you can be way more of a dominant player. I know you can be someone who changes the game, who can get 3 hits a night. The fact that Alec Bohm's the guy right now, that should be you. It should be both of you. Can you imagine a little Alec Bohm, Bryce Harper action, both getting 3 hits a night? There is a scare that I have when it comes to Alec Bohm, and I know I shouldn't feel this way, but do you remember what Rhys Hoskins was like when he got called up? And we thought, wow, this guy is going to be such a key piece. He's going to be the first baseman of the future. He's going to be that guy that crushes 40, 50 home runs a season. And he's picked it up. There's no doubt about it that he's having fun playing baseball again. The baseball is cruising off of his bat. He's putting together beautiful, beautiful approaches at the plate, and he's not afraid to do something other than walking, which is what he did early in the season. He'd go up, he'd sit there, he'd wait for the walk. No, dude, swing the damn bat. And look what happens when he does that with confidence. But he's still not on the pace that he was when he first got here, murdering the cover off the ball. Well, I just hope that something similar doesn't happen to Alec Bohm. We saw it happen to Shane Gostisbehere with the Philadelphia Flyers, came onto the scene hot. I just get nervous. It's almost as if it's PTSD based off of what I have seen throughout the history of certain players here in this city. They come in hot, they look great, you get sucked in, and then, well, reality hits. But, I mean, realistically, when you watch Alec Bohm at the plate, it is beautiful. It's magic. It's poetry. It speaks to me. Doesn't matter what inning it is. It doesn't matter how many strikes are on him, what the score is. He steps up. And the way that he's so cool with 2 strikes, that's not normal. That's different. That's a gene that not everybody has. You got to be a certain type of player with a certain type of nerves inside of you to be able to step up to the dish in those type of moments and have some pressure on you. Some pressure on you. Only the game on you with 2 outs and 2 strikes. Yeah, let me lay this down in the left field. Let me score 2 runs. It was so awesome, though. It really was. It's a shame that I no longer feel that hype based off of what happened in the second game. David Phelps, miserable. JoJo Romero was fine. Hembry, bad. Tommy Hunter, bad in the first game. Although, if he bounces back and puts together 3 or 4 strong outings afterwards, then it's just a hiccup. We just have to see what type of Tommy Hunter comes next game. Because at some point, no matter how lethal you are out of the pen, you're going to have an outing where you allow a run. You're going to have an outing where it doesn't go as smooth. But how do you bounce back, and how many games after that are you a factor? The scary thing I'm seeing, though, is it seemed like there was a spark and a turnaround when they went from the Austin Davises of the world to the Hembrys, the Workmans, and they made those moves at the deadline. Now, whatever that spark was or that fire was, it seems to be blowing out. It seems to no longer be there. So the Phillies are taking the lead, they're losing the lead. And it's either up to the offense to step back up again, which you can't rely on that long term. I get there's moments where the offense should be able to get you that run when you need it. But there's also times where it's, hey, bullpen, shut it down. There's some players on this roster when it comes to the Boston Red Sox and their lineup. Verdugo is exciting. They got him in the Mookie Betts deal. He looks like to be a stud. We know what Devers can be when Devers is playing his best baseball. I'll always remember that Chapman home run that he hit. The thing was a bomb. Big-time home run for Devers. I'll never forget it. They also had, who else stepped up? They had someone step up big time for them today. And I'm drawing a blank, and it's going to bother me, so I am going to have to look it up. Typing in Red Sox box score. I would type in Phillies box score if I was actually excited about what the Phillies were able to do, and apparently Google doesn't want to cooperate with me. Red Sox box score. Dalbec. Dalbec was incredible. Not only was he hitting home runs in the first game, he had a home run in the first game, he was crushing it in the second game as well. What, he finished with like 3 RBIs? Yeah. Ridiculous. But the Red Sox fans are a little disappointed because they're trying to tank for that first overall pick. I'm sure it's killing Red Sox fans inside, but it kills me inside because the Boston Red Sox, they're not good. And it's not like they're throwing lethal pitching at you where Chris Sale's on the bump and they have all these dirty pitchers that you shouldn't be able to catch up to them. The fact that the offense went that stale in Game 2 and only recorded 2 runs, and that was early in the baseball game, that's pathetic, and it needs to be better. I don't think I can truly explain how big this series is against the Marlins. And the fact that there's a doubleheader involved, what tells me, if I'm going to use statistics, that they're going to be able to sweep that day. They haven't done it since 2012. They haven't won two games in a doubleheader since 2012. That's so hard to do. Awful teams do that. This is humongous. And they have a hard time playing the Marlins as it is. And I really hope Sixto Sanchez finds a way on that bump and cruises 101 mile per hour fastballs by guys. Just so Matt Klentak can see it. So then he can see JT Realmuto and go, hey, John Middleton, I think we need to do something. We'll see. Thank you all so much for listening. All right, we'll see you next time.